You ever have one of those mornings when you step out into the world, still half asleep, thinking it'll be just another day, and then you see something so wild it makes you question every rule you ever lived by? That's how it was for me the day I saw that stallion by my fence. Yeah, the one folks still talk about in these parts, standing there with the sunrise stretching his shadow clear across the yard, like he owned the whole damn country and was just letting me borrow a piece of it for a while. You know what I mean. But if you really wanna get the heart of it, you gotta back up with me to the day before, when everything in my life was still as predictable as the sun coming up over the Montana hills. So picture this: 1879. The wild's still winning out here, the land bigger than anything a man can wrap his mind around, and I'm out riding my mare Copper, just checking fence lines like I did every day since I buried my wife 3 years back. The wind's got that dry bite, the kind that makes your skin crack but keeps you awake, and the only thing louder than the cicadas is the silence pressing down on you from every side. I'd been alone too long, just me and the ghosts of everything I lost, my hands rough from barbed wire and my heart about the same. Copper stops dead in this narrow canyon, ears up, every muscle quivering, and I see her, a young native woman standing like a shadow cut from the earth itself, not moving an inch, not scared, just watching. She looked more like part of the country than any person I'd met. Long black hair, a dress with beadwork I guessed was Crow, though I'd learned the hard way not to guess too loud about tribes. There was this way about her, like she'd been rooted there longer than the rocks, but I knew nobody's permanent in this place. Not her, not me, not even the mountains that scraped the sky. We played it careful, me, slow with my hands, her sizing me up with eyes that could read every lie a man might tell. I tell her my name, Jake, and she says she's called Ayana Eternal Blossom, which made sense somehow, seeing her with the sunlight on her face. She was there for the old paintings on the canyon walls, stories painted by her grandmother's grandmother, memories older than any white man's claim on this land. She came to remember. We talked for hours, the kind of talk where you find yourself saying things you hadn't meant to share about my wife, about the way loneliness settles on a man like dust he can't shake, about how hard it is to keep something alive out here, cattle or hope or anything else. And then there was Copper. Ayana kept looking at my mare, and finally she said she'd lost her own horse, a paint with eyes like amber, stolen in a raid 2 winters back. There's this silence when someone tells you about a loss that big it hangs in the air like smoke from a fire that never really goes out. Next thing I knew, before my brain could catch up with my mouth, I offered her Copper just flat out. Here, take her. She argued at first, like anyone would, but I told her it wasn't charity. It was me seeing her need and doing what felt right for once instead of just surviving. She took Copper, and I watched them ride off into the dust, the weight in my chest lifting in a way I hadn't felt since before Sarah got sick. That night, the house felt lighter too, like the walls had been holding their breath all this time and could finally exhale. For the first time in forever, I slept through the night without waking up gasping for air. Now, here's where it gets weird. Next morning, I go out to start the day and there he is, this black stallion by my fence, bigger and wilder than anything I'd seen, white markings like he waded through snow. He didn't look lost or scared. He looked like he'd been waiting for me. No brands, no rogue scars, just a mane like silk and eyes that felt almost human, if you believe in that sort of thing. I moved slow, gave him time to read me, then opened the gate and just waited. He walked in like he'd been invited. Didn't bolt, didn't fight, just started exploring, like he wanted to see if this place was worth sticking around for. That evening, Ayana comes back on Copper, leading a younger man I'd later learn was her brother, Little Wolf. She sees the stallion and goes real quiet, calls him Windrunner. Says nobody's ever touched him, that he's LED, wild herds for years, showing up when the balance of things needs fixing. Her brother backs her up. Windrunner's a legend, a spirit gift. Then Ayana gives me a little turquoise horse, her ancestor card, tells me some gifts are meant to travel. Windrunner comes right up to me, touches my heart with his muzzle, and I swear something inside me shifts. Not all the pain gone, but different, lighter, like grief made room for hope. That winter changed everything. Windrunner let me work with him, but only on his terms. Patience, respect, none of that break his spirit nonsense. The crazy part, his presence changed the whole ranch. Deer, eagles, even foxes started showing up, like he was a bridge between wild and tame. Ayana and her family came around more, teaching me things about the land my father never knew. Herbs, weather, water, stuff you can't buy in a store. I taught them fence mending and winter prep, and for the first time, the exchange felt right, like equals, not winners and losers. Through all that, Ayana and I grew close. Her brother Little Wolf turned out to be sharp and funny, picking up ranch work fast, teaching me to read animal tracks and predict snow. Nights were spent trading stories, fixing tech, arguing about what home really means. Ayana had a proper education but chose her people, could talk poetry or plant lore without missing a beat. One cold night, she asked if I regretted giving copper away. I realized I didn't, not one bit. Giving was how I started letting go of the old life that was killing me. Spring came and I asked Ayana to marry me. No speeches, just honest words out by the pasture while Windrunner ran with his herd. She said yes, and our wedding was a mix of everything: crow, settler, something new. Folks from all over started coming to see how we made it work, sharing land and lives, raising kids who spoke 3 languages and knew how to read the stars and the newspaper. Windrunner lived longer than any horse I'd known, his coat spreading that wildness and calm all over Montana. When he died, we buried him high on the hill, the ceremony a mix of sage smoke and hymns. Our children carried on what we started: law, medicine, translation, trade, writing, bridging worlds that didn't have to be enemies. Our ranch became Windrunner's rest, a place where people learned to talk before fighting, to share before taking. The turquoise horse Ayana gave me stayed over the fireplace, a reminder of what generosity can do if you let it. And folks still say, on certain mornings, when the wind is right, you can hear Windrunner's hooves in the grass, carrying the spirit of something bigger than any one person's story. So yeah, if you ask me, giving copper away wasn't the end of anything, it was the start of everything that mattered. That's the real lesson, the one I hope you carry with you. We make ourselves by what we give, not what we keep. And sometimes, the world answers in ways you'd never see coming. So what do you think? Is there ever a right time to let go? Or are we all just waiting for our own wild stallion to show up at dawn? Let me know below. What would you have done, standing at that fence, with the world holding its breath?